and postmodern, and understand that the process is similar everywhere, though the starting point and rate of change differ from place to place. Communities, countries, and even continents are at different points on the journey and are progressing at different speeds, but they are all on the same path. Pre-modern. For the vast majority of history, we have been at the mercy of nature in matters of life and death. The sexual impulse determined that men and women would engage in intercourse. Although reliable contraception did not exist, there have since ancient times been attempts to decouple sex from pregnancy, some of which were more effective than others. In some places, infanticide was common. Unwanted children were abandoned or thinned in number through a testing process, as in ancient Sparta. Prolonged breastfeeding of the youngest child increased the chance of delaying the next one, and the timing of sex within the menstrual cycle also had some effect. In some cultures, such as Catholic Europe in the Middle Ages, large numbers of people were removed from the reproductive pool, at least in principle, through the institution of priestly celibacy, monasteries, and nunneries. However, the world's population rose steadily over the long term, perhaps quadrupling in the 18 or so centuries that separated Julius Caesar and Queen Victoria. But high death rates offset high birth rates and kept overall population numbers from what otherwise would have been much faster growth. A civilization with improving technology that was enjoying relative peace might see its population grow, only for it to fall back again. Medieval Europe is the classic example. There was population expansion as land was drained and new ploughing techniques were adopted, but crop failures in the 1310s and the Black Death in the 1340s pushed it down again. China experienced similar golden years of population growth followed by setbacks. Transport in pre-modern times was rudimentary and expensive. Moving food around to keep large numbers of people alive was often not economic, particularly where overland haulage was required, while duties were often payable, making it even less practical. So people mostly depended on supplies from the immediate vicinity. A poor harvest meant hunger, and a complete crop failure could mean starvation or migration in search of food. And if famine and disease did not keep the population in check, wars and massacres could decimate numbers. 17th century Germany lost around a third of its population during the 30 Years' War, while more than a tenth of the Chinese population died during the fall of the Ming dynasty. Births were either unchecked or repressed in crude, unreliable ways, or sometimes by social practices like late marriage, while death travelled freely through populations, especially among the very young. Someone reaching their 80th birthday stood a better chance of making it to their next birthday than a newborn baby stood of surviving to the age of 1. This, roughly, was the state of humanity in pre-modern demography. Modern. European historians often choose the late 15th century as the dividing line between the medieval and the early modern period. Movable type and printing, originally a Chinese invention, began radically to reduce the cost of learning and created a literate class that benefited from the rapid circulation of ideas. Europeans trying to reach Asia stumbled on the Americas, opening up whole new vistas to explore while spelling demographic doom for their inhabitants. Islam was expelled from Spain but gained a foothold in the Balkans, particularly after the fall of Constantinople to the Ottomans, and the unity of Western Christendom was about to be shattered by the Reformation. However, none of these changes fundamentally affected the pre-modern population regime. The circulation of precious metal determined who had buying power, while new crops, particularly the potato,